Tonight on CFTK-TV News, Volunteer Tariffs adds a new transport service to their offerings, the forestry industry looks to prevent wildfires, and the latest developments on Bill C-5.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Friday, June 20th, 2025. I'm Jaylene Matthews. Transportation challenges affect many in our community, especially those who can no longer drive. But today, a new initiative aims to make that journey easier. Here's CFTK-TV's Helen Asante.
Volunteer Tariffs held a ribbon-cutting ceremony this afternoon to officially launch a brand new 10-seater van. Organizers say the vehicle will make a meaningful difference for seniors who often struggle with isolation and access to essential services.
When we have our meetings with seniors, it's always been, the number one has always been transportation. So it's been a long time of recognizing there's a need within our community and our region specifically.
The project was made possible through community partnership and general support from local sponsors, the Spirit of the North Healthcare Foundation.
Made total sense for us because it's helping to close a healthcare gap that we see right across the region, which is transportation to and from medical appointments, etc. So we were happy to step in with funding to make sure that we can help close this gap and bring services closer to our communities in the north.
Volunteer Tariffs hopes the new van will be just the beginning of improved transportation services for vulnerable residents in the region.
We will take people to medical appointments if needed. And again, because we're regional, we will get a call from Prince Rupert saying they have somebody coming from out of town that maybe has an eye appointment or eye surgery. And, you know, we support even Kitimat, getting people to medical appointments at the Kitimat Hospital. So we have that ability. That's our number one and primary focus. Yeah, Terrace View, which is our nursing home, and McConnell Estates, for example, are places that we can go up and get groups of people as well and take them to things. So overall, you know, it's really, it's going to be significant for our seniors. Yeah.
For more information or to sign up for rides, seniors and caregivers are encouraged to contact Volunteer Tariffs directly. MLA Jordan Keeley says allegations of blackmail made in an internal memo from BC Conservative leader and Nechako Lakes MLA John Rustad are false. Keeley says in a statement that allegations of political misconduct made against him and others in the letter are an act of desperation by Rustad, who he says is losing control of his party. Keeley, who was elected as a Conservative but left the party to sit as an independent, says he welcomes a police investigation that's being requested by the NDP. And the forestry industry is looking into what they can do on their end to contribute to reducing wildfires. Here's CTV's Penny Daflos with more.
It's one of BC's earliest industries, and now BC's independent forestry watchdog says changes to some logging practices could help reduce wildfires near communities.
It affects everybody in BC, this kind of risk that we have.
The Forest Practices Board spent 2 years scrutinizing tree harvesting in 3 areas of the province. They found a catch-22. Piling and burning branches and other tree debris could reduce wildfire risk, but companies are only allowed to burn slash piles when smoke won't impact nearby residents. Some piles can sit for years, adding to the risk.
We need the public to support this kind of good burning and getting rid of that material. We know that industry operating in the zone is one of the best ways to reduce the hazard around the community.
It's a public safety matter, so industry is keen to be part of the solution, but at the same time, you know, we can't do it in a way that endangers companies' financial health.
British Columbia's forest industry is facing big challenges right now, namely planned increases to softwood lumber duties and an investigation into forest products from the U.S. Operators point out provincial regulations aren't helping their situation. They say paying companies to prioritize reducing wildfire risk could be an option.
We think that we can do things in a way that is taking care of the environment, that is balancing social objectives. So that includes First Nation reconciliation and forest fire management. And it's economic, that allows the forest industry to continue to provide high-paying jobs.
The solution comes from collaboration.
The Ministry of Forest tells CTV News they're reviewing the report and that they have some new initiatives that may address the recommendations. A final note, more than 1 million British Columbians live in communities facing high or extreme wildfire risk. Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
Coming up next, calls for reform in police oversight. BC's Health Ministry says the province has officially broken ground on the construction of the Northwind Wellness Centre project in northeastern BC. It says the Addiction Treatment and Recovery Centre in Pouce Coupe will offer 55 spaces that integrate First Nations healing practices with clinical care. The controversial decision of the BC healthcare system to discontinue coverage of a costly medication for a 10-year-old girl has her family speaking out. Here's CTV's Brendan Strain.
Our family is heartbroken to share, but Charlie's final infusion will be tomorrow.
Jory Fales cannot hide her pain in an emotional social media post. The mother reacting to news. BC will no longer continue drug treatment for her daughter's rare disease.
We are processing this news, and at this time, there's just not much else I can say.
Racked with grief, the mother then addresses her daughter directly.
I'm just really sorry, Charlie, and we love you so much.
The emotional cascade comes after this message from BC's health minister Wednesday.
There is no evidence to support changing the discontinuation criteria or to support the ministry continuing to provide coverage for Bernera given the advanced stage of Charlie's condition.
Today, Fales striking back, saying the treatment for a disease that will kill her daughter is working.
I want the facts to be straight here. My daughter is not in advanced decline, and she has been stable for years on this medication, so that comment made my blood boil yesterday.
After several extensions from the province, today, the 9-year-old's final infusion with the costly drug Bernera.
I took a picture this morning for her last infusion, and she has a huge smile on her face. Everyone's heart's breaking in the hospital. This is just a really sad day for everyone.
BC is on the wrong side of history if they stick with this decision.
Lori Brown is the president of the Batten Disease Support and Research Association and says Charlie is the only child in the world to have ever been taken off Bernera by anyone else besides their medical team or parents. She says BC's decision has sent shockwaves through the small yet global Batten disease community.
They're rattled. They hear that one child is being taken off and they say, okay, so what about my child?
What lies ahead for Charlie? Her mother expects decisions no parent should make.
Charlie turns 10 in 2 weeks, and I know in my soul we will not see her 11th birthday, and I am angry about that.
Brendan Strain, CTV News, Victoria.
After a tragic incident, some are speaking out about the need for reform in police oversight. CTV's Anna McMillan has the details.
The head of Victoria's police union has a choice word to describe the 5+ years it took to conclude a misconduct case against one of her members.
I would say torture. That's the first word that comes to mind.
Last month, Vic PD Sergeant Ron Kirkwood was found to have abused his authority when he fired an anti-riot weapon into a smoke-filled room, accidentally hitting Lisa Rausch in the head and killing her.
It's been such a dragged-out process that it's excruciating.
The victim's family and police don't want to see others experience the same psychological strain.
Every single stage of the OPCC process, or even the IIO process, needs to have tighter timelines.
In BC, there are several oversight bodies at play. One is the Office of the Police Complaint Commissioner, which oversees misconduct investigations into municipal police.
The province has set up an oversight process that in my view, demands accountability, and sometimes that process takes a little longer than everybody would wish.
RCMP misconduct is dealt with by a federal agency, and then there's the Independent Investigations Office, which is dedicated to potential criminal cases involving serious injury or death.
An efficiency may well be, just to start with, that we have a single point of intake.
That's one of the recommendations made in 2022 by a legislative committee dedicated to transforming policing.
You have to ensure that it's done for the right reasons and it does not sacrifice fairness and impartial decision making.
Also recommended adding resolution pathways such as mediation, along with supports to help complainants navigate the system.
So I agree with many of those recommendations. However, we still don't know whether any of these recommendations will be implemented or not.
We asked to interview BC's Public Safety Minister to learn whether progress is being made. We received a statement instead saying ministry staff are continuing to work with partners to address the recommendations so we can make sure police can serve British Columbians in the best way possible.
We're always looking for ways to improve our efficiencies.
Last year, BC amended the Police Act so the OPCC can call public hearings earlier. In Kirkwood's case, there were 3 other investigations before a public hearing was ordered.
If we had the power at that time to call a public hearing earlier, like we do now, it would have shaved 1.5 to 2 years off the actual overall process.
At the IIO, the average number of days to conclude a case has fallen from 103 to 52.
A couple of years ago, my predecessor was successful in obtaining additional investigative resources for the IIO. So currently, I think timeliness is less of an issue than it was.
That, paired with the collective desire to upgrade the system, offers reason for optimism.
If we can collaborate on this issue and make it better for both our members and for the public, I think we're winning.
Anna McMillan, CTV News, Esquimalt.
Turning to the weather, today marks summer solstice, occurring when Earth arrives at the point in its orbit where the North Pole is at maximum tilt towards the sun, resulting in the longest day and shortest night of the year. The sun rose at 4:55 a.m. this morning in the northwest and sets at 10:16 p.m. tonight, giving us 17 hours and 20 minutes of daylight. Tonight on the North Coast, expect conditions to be clear, with fog patches developing late this evening, winds from the northwest at 20 kilometers an hour becoming light this evening, a low of 10 degrees. Over the next few days on the North Coast, expect the sun to stick around for a few more days, with some clouds coming in on Monday and a chance of showers Tuesday. Daily highs between 14 and 16 degrees, overnight lows around 11 degrees. Tonight in the Tariffs-Kitimat area, expect it to be partly cloudy with a 30% chance of showers this evening, clearing overnight, winds from the north at 20 kilometers an hour, gusting to 40, becoming light this evening, a low of 12 degrees. Over the next few days in the Tariffs-Kitimat area, expect a hot sunny weekend before clouds come in on Monday, daily highs in the 22 to 28 degree range, overnight lows between 12 and 15 degrees. Tonight in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, it's looking partly cloudy with a 30% chance of showers this evening and a risk of thunderstorm, clearing before morning. Winds from the north at 20 kilometers an hour, gusting to 40, becoming light this evening, a low of +4 degrees. Over the next few days in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, expect the sun to stick around right until Tuesday with daily highs between 24 and 28 degrees, overnight lows between 8 and 10 degrees. Checking your Northwest highways now. On Highway 16, there's construction in Prince Rupert with a detour in effect. There's also bridge maintenance, mowing, and utility work going on. On Highway 37, there's bridge construction as well as tree pruning, frost heaves, and a material spill. On Highway 37A, watch for falling rocks. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come, Canada talks getting tough on tariffs. Prime Minister Mark Carney is pushing ahead with legislation meant to speed up major projects and break down interprovincial trade barriers. CTV's Rachel Aiello with the latest developments on Bill C-5.
Cooperation, engagement, participation is at the heart of C5.
Today, Prime Minister Mark Carney asserted that consultations with Indigenous peoples on future nation-building projects will be core to a new process he's pushing through Parliament.
That is how you build a nation, and that's very much how we've designed it, how we believe it, and that's how we'll be moving forward.
In addition to breaking down trade barriers, Bill C-5 seeks to grant Cabinet the power to rapidly greenlight major energy and infrastructure projects. Amendments have been made to the contentious legislation in the last 24 hours, quelling some, but not all, concerns.
It's nowhere near enough. I really believe that this country can get this right if they just took the time.
Calling Bill C-5 a case study in how not to engage, for days Indigenous leaders have been making clear their concerns and calls for changes. In the House of Commons,
the conditions for an Idle No More 2.0 uprising are being written into the law as we speak.
And in the Senate.
It creates the possibility of national interest projects ending up before the courts.
Carney's legislative lead said today the government was reviewing the amendments made, while stressing the bill has broad backing.
Canadians massively support what Parliament is considering right now.
With the support of the Conservatives, the bill is on track to pass the final stages in the House of Commons tomorrow and clear the Senate by next Friday, a few days ahead of Carney's self-imposed Canada Day deadline.
With huge tariffs on steel and aluminum from our U.S. counterparts, Canada is considering more counter tariffs. CTV's Mike Lecouteur explains.
Canada dialed up the pressure on the U.S. to get a trade deal done within 30 days, saying if they don't come to an agreement, more counter tariffs could be coming.
We're going to adjust them to levels consistent with the progress that's made at that point on the broader trading arrangements with the United States.
Right now, Canada has a 25% tariff on $30 billion worth of American goods coming into the country. The increased pressure is being applauded by the steel and aluminum industry.
We're operating under 50% tariffs from the U.S. and we have not fully retaliated. So to be able to maintain that option, depending on how things go over the next month, it's a smart move.
The Prime Minister also announced a larger Buy Canadian plan for federal projects that require steel and aluminum. Mark Carney said he wants to maximize the use of our own materials, including at the provincial and territorial levels.
If we get the One Canadian Economy Bill through Parliament, the impact of these nation-building projects, making sure that those are taking advantage of our industries.
We're going to be talking about trade and many other things.
Now, on Monday, President Trump and Prime Minister Carney set a 30-day countdown clock to come up with a new economic and security deal. But those in the aluminum industry say they're hurting now.
After 30 days, there is not a goal that has been met. We will definitely need government financial support.
The minister responsible for trade with the U.S. met with his American counterparts at the G7 in Kananaskis. Dominic LeBlanc will meet with them again tomorrow, and he believes the pressure of a July 21st deadline will help to focus the conversation. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Turning to the stock markets now. The Canadian dollar fell 0.2 cents. The price of gold dropped $24.60. Oil gained 51 cents. Natural gas dropped 9 cents. Aluminum fell 20.50. In Toronto, the TSX was down 8 points. The Venture Index dropped about 5 points. In New York, the Nasdaq was down almost 99 points, and the Dow Jones was up 35 points. Still ahead, meet the latest BC Lotto Max jackpot winner. Rescue teams searching for victims in a rock fall along a hiking trail in Banff National Park have found a second body. RCMP say the person was found this morning and officials are notifying family. A 7-year-old woman from Calgary was first found dead at the site of Thursday's rock slide at Bow Glacier Falls, north of Lake Louise. 3 others were taken to hospital and are in stable condition. Officials say no one else has been reported missing and there are no unidentified vehicles at the trailhead. A wildlife expert is urging people to be careful when storing or throwing away items like household food containers or containers used to store birdseed or animal feed after a bear was seen caught in a lid. Take a look.
We have a very robust bear population in Michigan.
And because of that, it's not that uncommon to catch a glimpse of a black bear around these here parts.
This really was the result of local landowners having trail cameras out.
Bears, not that unusual, but this image caught on a Montmorency trail camera stood out.
2 years ago, there was a cub bear. This bear has a cub that ended up getting its head stuck in a blue 55-gallon plastic drum lid.
And when the property owners saw it, they spoke up.
They alerted local wildlife staff, and it started a kind of a hunt for it over the next 2 years.
For 2 years, the bear lived its life with that blue lid wrapped tightly around its growing neck.
Couldn't have been enjoyable to have the lid around its neck.
For 2 years, sporadically, someone would report seeing the bear.
We were kind of behind the bear the whole time.
Until this spring, a quick call from an alert property owner.
They alerted us right away.
And a quick response by the DNR.
We were able to catch the bear pretty much right away after the trap was set.
Caught and then finally freed from that darn lid.
I think one of the wildlife technicians had ran to Home Depot that morning and got all sorts of bolt cutters and other tools to make sure that we had everything we needed to be able to get that lid off.
The bear checked out pretty healthy.
Certainly had some pretty significant scarring, had an abscess as well that appeared to be caused by the lid.
Having spent enough of its life with something around its neck and due to its injuries, no tracking collar for this bear.
It was outfitted with an ear tag, so if it shows up on trail camera anywhere else, we'll be able to, kind of keep tabs on it that way.
It was a $40 million windfall for one Vancouver resident whose life is now changed forever. Here's CTV's Ben Nesbitt.
Daniel Chow bought a lottery ticket on a whim, a choice that will forever change his life.
Is it real or am I dreaming?
Chow, a Vancouver resident in his early 30s, had just finished a run at Burnaby Central Park on May 23rd when he went to a nearby 7-Eleven to buy a can of sparkling water.
When I'm about to check out, I'm just look at all the lotto numbers and I was like, something really pushed me to buy that ticket.
Admittedly a forgetful person, Chow left the ticket sitting at the bottom of his backpack for weeks. It was only when he reached in to grab a cough drop when he remembered it was there.
When I scan it and when I see the number, I literally dropped my phone. I'm like, how many zero number was that? I never seen that many zero in my life.
Since then, he has kept his big win a secret, only telling his partner. He hopes to surprise his family with the news. Chow's windfall comes just more than a month after a Surrey man won a record-breaking $80 million jackpot.
I'm an immigrant. I came from a poor country. This money's a lot, right?
As for Chow, he plans to buy his parents a home. For himself, he says he's got a bucket list of travel destinations and hopes to give back to the community.
This might be a life-changing experience to me, and I want to use a part of it to change other people's lives as well.
Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
That's our news for now. For more local news, you can visit us at cftktv.com. Thanks for watching.